I heard about the actual great game of business through my brother, who is an accountant. But it's a little bit more of an interesting story how I found Ryan. You guys use a software platform that it was a YouTube video about the software platform, but I don't know if YouTube just caught the fact that there was a great game of business poster in the background. I hope they're not quite that smart, but maybe they are, because the great game was not mentioned video at all. It was interesting. So I just saw that. So, well, they must do it. So let me reach out to these guys and check them out. Somehow I did a YouTube search for, what was it? Something, not even the great game. It was open book management. And that was literally, I think, the first video that popped up. Well, I was really just trying. I had kind of, at the time, come up with a bonus program on my own that never really worked. It never paid for itself. It never did what the great game figured out how to do. But I really wanted the guys, I really did not want to be the boss anymore. I wanted the guys to know I was trying to do exactly what the great game does, and I did not pull it off myself, but it was fantastic the way it evolved, and I found out how that great game just fell right into place of what I was trying to do. And I had bonus programs that were based on things like customer referrals and this and that, and but at the end of the day, it was all about getting the guys to be responsible to each other and to the customer, and not me. I was trying to take myself out of the equation, and it just kind of fit the bill perfectly. Always just trying to get out of the business of putting fires out. And maybe Ryan mentioned a lot of things that you still have fires, but you just have a lot more firemen. And that made sense. So that's kind of, business on the best days are great. You're smiling, you're thinking, man, why can't it be like this all the time? And other times you're like, my God, this cannot be this hard. I'm making a simple product. How can it be this hard? But so anyway, it got it's in the process of getting a bunch of firemen involved. And in that sense, they don't want fires either. So they're actively trying to control things and make things better. And
so by sharing this information and helping them sort of understand how the business runs and what's needed and whatnot, they're sort of beginning to take ownership of how the process goes and their own positions there.
It just gets everybody on the same page. You're in business to make money, and you can't make money with mistakes and fires and this and that. Gets everybody thinking. I think they're kind of pretty much on par. I had done a lot of research, read all the books. I think I take that back. I think it's better in that my brother, who introduced it to me, who is an accountant, had the opinion that the back-end accounting part of it was going to be, you're going to need an accounting department for it. I wasn't so convinced, but I had that in the back of my mind that, just supporting this project on the back end was going to be more difficult than it might be worth as a small company with no accounting department. That has been, there was the front end thing. I learned a lot that I didn't know about general accounting in just day to day. So it's helped me there, but it has been a lot easier. I can see, the ongoing processes are much more realistic than originally thought.
So
he did talk about just some general stats about companies that had gone through with it versus ones that did not, or ones that tried it on their own. It just would, and I can see looking back that he has helped a lot. And back to that, just general accounting practices, it would have taken me a long time to get the budget figured out. I was, that I'm sure there's other people. You could have gone to a business class, you could have done some things to figure it out, but that alone was a huge time saver. And I think that he was right that you could implement it yourself in theory. It's not rocket science, but at the same time, I do believe he cut the learning curve way down. And I think he was correct in the fact that you save some money doing it yourself, but you lose a lot of time, which is very possibly a lot more money. Yeah, I mean, you can't so easily pawn it off like, oh, I'm busy or whatever. You kind of got to do it a little bit.
Yeah, so. Ryan's going to call me. He wants to know this information. I need to know.
Yeah, he definitely kind of kept you on working towards it. But I will say at the same time, though, he didn't kill you with it. I mean, he knows you're in business. He knows he knows the reason you called him was because you're struggling. The self-training part has it's been good in that it just kind of reiterates what he's talking about, and you can kind of go through it again after you get off the phone or whatever. And the examples of some silly things, just like the mini game scoreboards, things that kind of put roadblocks in your pathway there. Just like, oh, how do I? You just kind of take advantage of seeing what other people have done there, and makes it a little easier on just the silly things that you kind of overthink. And but yeah, I mean, literally, I mean, I just pulled off a sheet today to walk the guys through a new mini game, and just to kind of give them an idea of how to run one, because we've got a few new guys, and it's just good examples. I just like the examples. I would say not so much the front end, but I guess the minute you hit the budgeting part, and that's probably more towards the front end. But as far as I go, I was probably spending 5 or 6 hours or maybe more a week. But it would depend on how good you are accounting wise, and how good you were in the past. If you'd ever done a budget, which I'd never had, if you've ever done a budget, I'd say you could cut that in a third. So I don't know. Probably a lot of smaller businesses are not that great at budgeting, so they probably will go through a similar process.
But once you've completed that budgeting, and that's just going to be the next, it's going to be an annual process that will be very
changes your whole way. I mean, it's like I was like, wow, why didn't I do this before? It's a great practice. Everybody should do it, even if it's not for the great game. I mean, it was just this is how you manage your business. Fantastic.
Yeah. I recognize that in your business, building cabinets and countertops, you use a wide variety of tools and equipment. I just wonder if there's one that would best describe sort of how Ryan has been part of this process. How would you describe Ryan?
Not quite a chainsaw, but he's not a sander either. I would actually put Ryan in the finishing booth, really.
Yeah. How so?
You know, he just was he just would take and fine tune stuff. He was just the finisher, kind of, sort of. So. Honestly, kind of the just the back and forth. Just, you know, he's obviously been the consultant, but at the same time, he's just been kind of a guy that's, you know, done everything. He's just kind of a mentor as well. He's just not, and you could even take it, not so much even a mentor, just like a fellow businessman. You're bouncing stuff off of, and even when you're doing things like filling out the budget, just talking about how to set up your, you know, your chart of accounts, and, you know, you just bounce any ideas off him. So it was, yeah, he was just good at that.
So what has Ryan provided that you couldn't have accessed on your own?
I suspect I probably could have accessed it all. It's just knowing what to access. I mean, just knowing, you know, you just don't know what you don't know. And I would have done it years ago had I known I didn't know it, I guess.
So it sounds like he's brought awareness.
Yeah.
To know what you don't know and what you didn't know.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
A person with I don't even know if like a business degree, you know, definitely an accounting degree. I think you would have done some of the back end stuff. You would have not gotten your team involved like this. But I think that Ryan definitely bring. I mean, he was a big help, big value. It is nice to, like, I have some friends that are in business as well, and we would call each other and talk about either good things or bad things. And he made a comment, and I found it happening, that he didn't really want to talk business with other people. He wanted to talk business with the people he's in business with. And you know, so I would call people up before this and chit chat about business. They weren't at all part of my business. And but it's been nice. I bring the guys in on ideas I have to do this and ask them, you know, what they think and what kind of money we could look at. And it's definitely been good. And you can see things happening that might even be bad, and you're talking to them, and it's honestly just calmed me down. So nice. It's been good.
Very much changed the dynamic of you and your team.
Yeah.
You're more on the same level.
Yeah, much more on the same page about, you know, we're in business, we've got to do stuff to make money. So
how does that feel?
Good. It really does. It's really has turned out to be exactly what I was hoping for, which is better than I was expecting. So, you know what I mean? It's turned out to be great. And I mean, we're just getting rolling. We've got a long ways to go, and I think it's just going to get better. Just kind of getting further and further along with it, better and better understanding with the guys, so they're taking more and more responsibility, and really just kind of more of the same, just getting better at it.
And what challenges do you see ahead?
Honestly, it's so simple. I think you could make it as complicated as you want, and but I think, you know, some of the worst challenges I kind of see is just simple technical things, as far as the guys are getting the concepts great. There's some, just in my opinion, they're going to be simple hurdles to just implement. How do the guys do simple things? Like, how do they input raw material usage for the day, so we can maintain an accurate inventory count, and little things like that that'll work itself out. And I want to implement some things where the guys know if they had a good day monetarily. Like, did they do what they thought? How did they know if they got that accomplished?
Right. Yeah.
So I know they care about it and they want to do it, but they think, well, did I get it done?
Yeah.
And so it'd be nice to see that on a daily basis, and a weekly is great too, but if they could see it daily, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. One of your goals was cohesion. And sharing information, consistency, having fun, and making more money. I think those are sort of if you top them all off.
Yeah.
And how do you feel you are on those things now?
Getting better and better. I think we're honestly making more money, and it's going to be a little bit of a check, because this budgeting process was not so much a guessing game, but I did as good of research. I mean, it's as accurate as I think I could ever make it. But I'll still be interested to see if it pulls out the way we're anticipating, and it's looking like it's gonna, if not better. So
yeah.
But yeah, we'll just see how that goes, shakes out.
Yeah. And I mean, you're building up your data now, so
Yeah.
as you go forward, it's going to be historical data that helps you make those decisions. And
exactly. I mean, great guy, flew all the way here during his vacation. Really, as far as just people that might want, or what people might want to know about him, just really down to earth guy. I mean, definitely he's not like an accountant or some I've had consultants come in before that they were just consultants. They were trying to see problems and didn't help you doing it. They say this is wrong. And but yeah, he was just really able to help you out. He was able to help me beyond just the great game, and just the great game would bring up problems. This is what's going on here and stuff. And he's just been there, done that. So he was able to, he's kind of more than one. He's definitely, I would put him in more than one category as a consultant. He'd be able to offer more than just get you into the great game.